everyone, I'm Caroline, and this was going to be the Phil substitute, but he's just, as I went to click the button, walked in.
I'm here.
Teddy can go and sit back on the sofa.
You have no faith in me, man. You have no faith in me at all.
None at all.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Mudlarking happy hour. We're going to have an hour of fun, chatting, a quiz, showing you some of our finds, and if you haven't been here before, I point there because that's where my chat is. Pop into the chat, start a conversation with people. Indeed. You're more than welcome. Everybody is so lovely. You'll feel welcome right away.
And we're starting with 100 people watching.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
No, that's
so
not
much,
bad,
everyone,
is it? That's not bad to way to start.
Saturday evening, and there's 100 of you come to listen to us. That's really nice, and thank you.
I was actually on the phone at 20 to 9 because I rang someone with regards to my work at 8 o'clock and they weren't in. Then they rang me back, so I ended up on the phone later than I planned, which is why I was running a little bit behind, to say the least. And I was chatting to this chap and I thought I'd better drop the hint that I've got to go somewhere.
Yes.
Because actually the only place he was going was to drown his sorrows following the rugby result today. But we'll say no more about that. Don't sound so fatalist about it. Yes, we did, and we were playing England, and it was only a few points in it.
Jeff! Oh, well done. Just a second, I think I recognise those daffodils.
Shed extension donation so you can get more furniture in 2090. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Jeff. You interrupted Phil. Well done.
Yes, but he's getting me an extension. I tell you what, I said to somebody in a comment today, they say it has to get worse before it gets better, so I'm certainly getting the first part right because it's getting worse every time I go down there.
I went down today and I said I had a quick look round and I just said a few little things about how perhaps I would organise things a little differently, and I said I'm going now because I just cannot cope with being in this shed. It is the sheds, the garden area around the shed. I just leave it there. So thank you very much, Jeff. We really do appreciate it.
I'm planning to do a swap. I'm going to swap all the stuff in that is piled up in your conservatory for one item of furniture in my shed.
And we do have some happy mail later from Jeff too.
Yes, we do. But as I was saying, I was chatting to this guy and I said, I've got to get off to do a live show on YouTube. He said, that's interesting. I said, yeah. I told him we do the mudlarking, etc. But I said, we started a live show for the 6 weeks lockdown in March 2020. Folks, we are 1 week away from March 2022. Actually,
it's going to be a habit, isn't it?
In 4 weeks time, just under 4 weeks time, it'll probably be our second anniversary of doing this.
I can't remember what date it was when we started now.
Yeah,
it's just part of life now. We always, Saturday evening, we look forward to it.
Yeah, and of course live shows wasn't quite a thing, I don't think, so much back then in our community.
No.
It was in other communities, but not so much in ours. And others have followed suit, which is wonderful, and I know it's plenty of entertainment for people out there. But this 6 weeks is the longest 6 weeks we've ever done because it's 2 years.
Yes.
And still going strong. So wonderful to have so many 124 watching now.
Oh, that's
absolutely
great. Thank you.
Brilliant.
And let's have a look who were the first three in. First in was Mudlarking with Adam Gates, back on the top of the podium again. Well done. And Little Owl Bags, second place, and Random.
Interruption. Two interruptions from Christina, and sent us 55 of what they call Swedish crowns.
We think it is. One day she said, "No, you got it completely wrong."
Jane Miller has sent £10.
Oh, so thank you so much,
something
Christina.
For the next piece of furniture for the extended chair. No. I've got to behave. I must behave. I must not. But I saw an auction. There's so many auctions online.
No more furniture. Absolutely.
And I saw an auction online today, and I was a good boy. I didn't buy anything. But next week, folks, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but next week there is another 2 items going into the shed. But I did buy them before the desk. So next week there's 2 items going in.
Anyway, so let's get back to the...
Who's the third?
So Christina Mitazaki, thank you ever so much for your donation. That's really kind of you. And a cute little... Is it saying number 1? I have to put my glass on. Number 1, thank you ever so much. And then £10 from Jane Miller. And what was it for?
A little something for the next piece of furniture.
For the extended shed.
That's why I was saying I've got to behave.
So thank you ever so much, Jane. That's really kind of you. And we do appreciate all your super chats.
Did you say who was third in?
I did, but then I was sort of
Interrupted.
So it
Yes.
was random RJ Awesome, who was very awesome today, 3rd place on
There we
Ketnin.
go.
There's no monetary gain from being the first 3 in. It's just the kudos of saying, I was one of the first 3 in. So well done to all of you.
That's right. The prize is just being part of it.
Right. What should we do to start now? Because
Can you put the desk in your house? Mudlarking, Arizona. No, it's in my shed. That's my
Phil's desk.
domain down there. My shed is furnished the way I would furnish things. The house is furnished the way Caroline likes it furnished. Caroline's a minimalist.
I am.
Caroline likes white. You know, the most overcrowded area in this house is my bedside cabinet and this shelf. And I am responsible for both. Caroline runs an eBay business and has about 1,500 items for sale. And if you came in her house, they are all around the house and you wouldn't know it.
No,
They're all
neatly stored in
discreetly
cupboards.
stored away in IKEA units and the
All
rest.
numbered, lovely.
All looking white and white. And my shed is not. My shed reflects my brain.
Yes, and you don't see the half when Phil films it.
I did show them.
You did you?
I did show them. I did. And it's getting worse, not better. But it's in the process, folks. You can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. And boy, am I breaking some eggs down that shed.
Oh, yes. One big scramble.
Yes, indeed.
Ninva said, isn't it time to start seeding in the greenhouse? Yes.
But
it
there's
is,
no
but
room in the greenhouse.
I can't even get into my greenhouse at the moment.
Could I just ask that no one mentions the greenhouse again? Not only
Too
is
late.
it...
It's been brought up now.
Not only is it full of the bikes and everything which I've had to move out of the shed, but I broke 2 panes of the glass in Caroline's greenhouse.
I said to Phil, don't lean the wood against the greenhouse
didn't.
like that. And he said, I didn't. I leant it against the barbecue, which then fell over under the weight of the wood and smashed my greenhouse.
And guess what? You can't get glass.
No, you've got to get special toughened glass now.
Yeah, or perspex. One or the other. I went, I'll get some glass. Used to be able to just pick it up cheap in the building supplies. You can't now because they don't want you to kill yourself with broken glass falling on your head. Because it seems that the glass for greenhouses was considered not needing to be as thick and tough as glass for any other purpose. So they put cheap glass in. You stood in a house made of glass in the middle of the garden in a storm, and the glass they thought should be cheap.
Yes.
Well, I like the price when it was cheap, but I could see the reason that they've done away with that. But I've got 2 panes of glass to replace, and I've got a whole lot of timber, gas bottles, and bikes to get out of there.
Now we're going away next week for a few days, and when we come back, I am going to start some seeds off. And this is in complete faith that Phil is at least going to have made enough space for me to walk into the greenhouse and put a few trays down.
I'm glad to see you do. I've got so much faith in me, dear.
So, we could be buying plants in at this rate. Right then, shall we do something that's even vaguely mudlarking related?
Okay. If you show your little beads, then I've got a question to go with little beads.
Right, show my little beads. And these are my little beads. See, if I can get them to focus. No, but you can see them, you can get the idea.
There they are.
There we go. Got a turquoise bead and a blue bead. And this one, I don't know if you saw it, I couldn't catch this with my little grabby thing.
No, that stream was flowing fast.
I got Phil to try and get in. He missed it, even using his fingers, and then we finally caught it. And this one was in a different area, and you can see it's a different colour bead completely. So I don't think they were on a different size. So I don't think they were ever from the same item, which made me think that blue must have been very popular.
At some point.
2 people with glass bead necklaces that a little piece ended up in different places in the same area. So
now, I did say in a stream, but of course, those who watched the video
Yes, it
realise
wasn't really a stream.
the stream was over there. What we were trying to catch that in was the path. Because the Kentish Mudlarks will remember going through the gate to hide the shards for us on the second clue. Well,
You had to be in a canoe to get through the gate.
yeah, it was just flowing straight under the gate, straight down the path. The flood water's coming off the mountain, and that little bead was in there.
It was.
And we've had a hello from Australia.
Australia.
From Ian
hello,
Upfold.
Ian.
So there we are. Somebody up bright and early and watching us in Australia. So that's great.
Dorothy Papineau said, I love your braids, Caroline. The Robotop desk is amazing, Phil. Maybe you need another shed and greenhouse. Probably. Yes, my braids, I've decided I am going to get this haircut eventually. I thought, well, let's play about, just do silly things. But I couldn't be bothered straightening it tonight, so I thought, let's stick some silly braids in. So there we go. Goodness knows what I'll look like next week. I'll see it as a challenge to do something different each week.
If you put the question little diddly-do up, and I'll do a question. It's quite funny in our house now because Caroline occasionally gets the wrong words or can't think of the word, which I find just amusing because I've been like that ever since we got married.
Yes.
For 40 odd years and before. I just can't think of the word. I can never think of the word. So there we are. That's why I said the diddly-do flip, because I couldn't think of what that is.
Really
the jingle,
funny.
the jingle.
Over on my art channel, I did a whole video on Tuesday, and you could see the shelf above me because I was showing a mirror plate. And I don't know if you heard me. I said, and you can see the hedge. No, it's not a hedge. It's a fence. No, it's not. It's a shelf. I got there in the end, and I'm like that quite often now. So if ever I'm talking rubbish, just ignore me. I'll get there in the end.
Glass beads. That's what we were talking
Glass
about.
beads.
Glass beads. They have been around for thousands of years.
Thousands.
Thousands of years. And were certainly around in the Roman times.
Right.
And historians have traced one particular glass bead production from 200 BC.
Ooh.
And they have discovered evidence that these beads were being traded for at least 1,000 years. So somebody figured out how to make glass beads. Then they found you can swap glass beads with somebody else for something else, and they were trading them, and it just grew. And actually,
I wonder if somebody swap my 2 glass beads for a Ferrari.
I dare say they would, dear.
If anybody wants to take me up on that.
There we go. So, 1,000 years of trading glass beads. That's going from 200 BC to 800 AD. The question is, where in the world were these glass beads originally made? The beads that were traded for 1,000 years, was it A, India, B, Italy, or C, China? What do you think, folks? Do you think it was A, India, B, Italy, or C, China?
Ooh, right, a couple of answers coming in.
Where were they trading
You got
glass
that one?
beads
you go.
from 200 BC and continually trading for 1,000 years? And during that time, the production moved and expanded beyond this particular country, but it began in the southern part of this particular country. Was it India, Italy, or China?
Phil didn't ask me the questions this week, but I would have got it wrong. Confession, eh? Oh, Lake Frog! Thank you very much. She donated $5 on a super chat. Thank you ever so much. We really appreciate that. It's really kind of you. Oh, and while I remember, Brian O'Brien has given us a Ko-fi donation too over on Ko-fi. I didn't mean to say, and
Thank
then I
you.
forgot. So thank you ever so much, Brian. That's really kind of you too, and we do appreciate it.
Hope you're having a better day today, Lake Frog. Hope things are going well for you.
Right, so have we got... Oh, Melissa Myers. Thank you ever so much, Melissa. We got a laughing avocado. Thank you so much. And a $5 super chat. Oh, thank you ever so much. It's really kind of you. And a very cute avocado too. We do appreciate that. Right. Yes, Flower Girl said she would have guessed Egypt. I was the same. I thought probably something like Egypt. But the other answer I guessed wasn't the right one.
The other answer you guess wasn't on the page either, was it?
Yes, it was on the page.
Actually,
It's the one I usually guess when it's something old.
oh, there we are.
It's a sure bet usually, but not today. Right, so have we got a winner?
Just trying to get back up to this.
Yes.
There. It's because I need a third one. Yep, I got a third one.
Right.
There we go. Right. Now, if you got it wrong, it's understandable. One, because everybody thinks anything that happened more than 2,000 years ago happened in China.
Yep.
And this was not China. A lot of people will have gone for Italy because thinking of Murano glass. And the fact that we have got such an ancient link with the glass manufacturing there,
Yep.
that would have been wrong as well, because it was actually southern India. 200 years BC, they were producing these beads and trading them in southern India. So the answer would have been A, which means the first answer in tonight was correct, and it was Ed Creative.
Well done, Ed.
Then we've got Mudlarking with Adam Gates taking the silver podium. And our boy from Abercrombie,
Rufus.
the Dragon
Well
Man himself,
done,
Rufus Williams.
Abercrombie boy.
So we've got Ed, Adam and Rufus taking the podium places on that question.
Well
and
done.
loads and loads of answers in. Well done to everyone who got it right. But I can see that the incorrect answers were in the majority.
Right.
There we go.
I don't feel so bad now.
No, and I do deliberately try to put answers in that I think will throw people off. Because I'm like that.
He's a little minx.
No, I think it was Jill Tabor said that she's totally impressed, she said last night, by the way that you managed to wangle an advert in for the live show every single week with something. And fair play, Caroline she's shameless. She'll use anything, because this time I had to bring home, not to put in the bin, this piece of plastic with a rope attached. I dare say Caroline's going to want the rope anyway for our craft channel. But I had to bring it home because Caroline said, we can't read this, but we will check it out on the live show.
Yeah.
So home I come with a bit of plastic. Now, I don't know if anyone out there has had any ideas as to what this would be. I'll be honest with you, I never would have guessed.
Never. So you know now.
I know now.
All right. So.
Oh, I've done my
then?
research.
Precious, what is it?
I have done my research, I tell you. Because on here it says WEIDER, wider. Wider Health and Fitness.
Oh, it wasn't a bull worker, is it?
It is some kind of fitness apparatus provided by the wider
bungee cordy
Health
things
and
that
Fitness. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
I see ones you lie on the floor and you pull with the handles and your legs go up and
And
down
your
as
feet
well.
and
It looks
that, yeah.
really crazy. Perhaps it's one of those.
It is some kind of apparatus for bodybuilding. That's what it is.
Right.
And I had a look, and Joe Wider was born in the early 1920s, Canadian, born to a European Jewish family who were moved over to Canada. He knows he was born in the early 1920s, but it was any time between 1921 and 1923, because there are no actual records of his birth date, because they just didn't keep accurate records in the ghetto where he was born. So he was born in a very poor situation.
You were born in a very poor condition.
Yeah, very poor conditions he was born to. And he left school at 12 years of age, but he became quite successful. In fact, he became very successful. He started a health and fitness company.
Right.
He actually began bodybuilding by taking the axle and wheels from an old railway truck and doing bodybuilding with that. He had a welder to fix it up for him, and that's what he was using. It was 70 odd pounds in weight. He then went on to publish things. He was partly responsible for the discovery of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He built a bodybuilding empire. In 1998, his company sales
Look at that. It works.
$250 million.
It's good.
Not
I'm
bad.
surprised.
In 1998, from the ghetto to $250 million in sales. And in 2003, when he'd have been approximately 80 years of age, he sold his American publishing business for $357 million. And this guy was born with not two halfpennies to rub together. And it was all through publishing and food supplements. He was the first into the big food supplement side of it. And this is one of the gizmos, or at least it's the remains. I wouldn't like trying to keep fit with that. But there we are, folks. It is interesting that even a rubbishy bit of plastic can take you to a story that is incredibly inspiring. Because a guy born in the ghetto, left school at 12, had nothing to his name, ended up a multi-millionaire, and one person said of him, to say he was a legend would be an understatement. So there we go. Now you know, Joe Wider.
Oh, Evie's just in back late from visiting their dad in hospital. He's not got much time left. But at peace with it at 92. Oh, sorry to hear that. Oh, a lot of sadness there, but we are all thinking of you. I'm sure everybody be sending their best wishes to you and your dad.
Yeah, because I think it was Evie I was chatting to on the comments a week or two ago. I think, if I've got it right, Evie, because I read so many comments, and your dad had been in hospital and I think had contracted COVID and then recovered.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So sorry to hear that he's unwell at the moment. And but as you say, if he's at peace, and if he's out of pain, then that's something. And our thoughts are with you. And I'm sure the thoughts of everybody in the chat are with you too.
Lynn Bean was saying, do you remember those, we used to call it the rack, we had one, and up on a pulley with 4 pieces of wood going across, and I put all my washing on to dry, pull it up with the rack, and we had an old Rayburn, which is like an Arga type thing. But the only thing is then, all your washing always smelled of smoke. So it was never sort of freshly washed smell on our washing. We always smelled like we were sort of had an open fire going.
My mum had one. But my mum had a bad habit of drying...
Oh, elderflower.
Elderflower. She would lower the rack down, fill it with elderflower, drag it up to the ceiling, and let it dry. If anyone has dried elderflower, you will know that it has a particular smell of what can only be described as cat's urine. And our whole house stunk. But my mum swore by it.
Yes, used to make a cordial with it.
Yeah, elderflower cordial, and chap down the road used to go for the berries, and he used to make elderberry wine, Ernie. Yeah. Ernie down the street used to make elderberry wine.
Right.
My mum made the tea.
So shall I do another find?
Go on then.
And for another find, I'll do this. Just in the thing of, do you know what on earth it is? This is my Y. But I now think it looks like a t-shirt. Yeah. More than a Y. What do you think that was? Do you think 2 of them clamped together to hold a pipe? That's what I'm thinking. You think I'm right, do you?
I do. Ooh. Because if you look, when I was cleaning it, you can see the studs are still in there.
Right.
Where bolts would have come through. And there'd have been a top one clamped on. And then the pipe would have run through that. And this would have probably been fixed to something, maybe to a ceiling, and then they'd run along the ceiling like that.
Right.
But it is a hefty lump.
It is.
When you
it
think,
doesn't feel like lead, but it's like such a solid lump of alloy. It's a big weight.
That was in a pit or something. That wasn't household. That was industrial.
Phyllis said it does look like a metal t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'd love to figure out something I can do with that. It's so weirdly shaped. It's so definitely shaped and tooled. I really like to come up with something. Does anybody have any suggestions what I could do with that? I suppose I could use it as a stamp. Or I could use it as a pair of legs. Have you got the top of a body?
Oh, you've dismantled my person.
See, she's a bit on the rugged side, but look.
She looked better on the dress.
Yeah, but look at that. She's a perfect fit. Doesn't she look nice in her new trousers? And her posh shoes? Okay, maybe not. Go back on there.
Well, if you can say that's a pair of legs, then I can say this is a dragon. Here's my latest dragon, folks.
That's quite impressive, that.
And, is it Lucky Dragon or Dragon Luck from Neverending Story? I think it was Catherine Williams said earlier on in a comment that it reminded her of that one. And when I had a look, I could see why. When he's flying through the air like that with the lad sitting on his shoulder here. So there we go, folks. My latest dragon, which will become a dragon creation, I'm sure, at some point. I may go into dragon productions.
Do you reckon he looks like he's wearing a flat cap?
Dragon with a tam.
He could be Nessie.
Aye.
Nessie wears a tam. As long as he doesn't keep floating away when he dives.
So there we go, folks.
No, Random J. Awesome doesn't see the dragon.
You got to have an imagination.
Elizabeth Robertson Burney's seen the dragon.
See, you got, that's a year there.
A luck dragon.
And there's the eye. And there's the nostril, and there's the mouth and nose, and he is flying through the air. There we go. There's the dragon.
Richard says it's not a squashed fez, is it? I don't think it's a squashed fez. Then again, it could be.
It's actually a pebble corroded to the metal.
Yeah, it's amazing what can join to metal when it starts to rust. And it's really firm. It's not just sort of hanging there. You'd have to hit it really hard to get it to come away.
On the theme of dragons, Caroline speculated that this could have been a dragon scale.
I think it is. Look at that. That must be the tail of a dragon, I think. Well, not
It's
that isn't. This
lovely,
is a fossil of it, but I
very
think that's
nice fossil there, isn't it? Nice clear print in that. Very orderly, I think. Possibly the bark on something like a palm or something like that back in the day when they grew you.
I can't remember what the palms are called, but there is some palm that we get that's very similar to that. But I'd rather think it's dragon scales.
No. We've got some nice pieces of china, haven't we?
We do, over here.
Do you have a nice piece of china?
I got these two. Now, this would have probably been a really nice, I think more bowl than a mug. If you look at the angle on the curve, or the curvature.
Yeah,
and
I'd say so.
Looking at it down there, so I'd say it was a bowl, perhaps a sugar basin. But I can't see how they would have gone together. They just don't. So
probably bits.
What a shame we couldn't find the whole thing, because I'd say it's at least, what do you reckon, with those curves? I forgot to show you on here, that size, possibly bigger. So a shame we couldn't find more, but I think it's a really pretty pattern
colours this time, didn't we? We did get a lot of blue, but we got different ranges of blue. This was quite nice. A few people commented on this particular piece because, of course, we played a giant game of plain or pattern.
Yeah, they were all big bits.
So many big pieces, but that was quite nice. The ivy leaves on there, nice dull green.
And this was, some of you may well remember, I found another piece of this down at exactly the same place about 2 years ago, and I know it definitely is the same pattern because I thought that looked like a Christmas bauble. And quite a few of you agreed with me, so it must have been a Christmas plate. Now, I don't know if we're going to ever find the other piece that I found, because that was a while ago, and it could be in Phil's pile of I can't think of a word. It could be in Phil's pile.
Yeah, pile of shards.
Shards. We call them shards, yes. I was thinking more along the lines of clutter.
No, I've got a drawer with them all in.
Yes.
Haven't I, folks? You've seen it. Yes.
There's lots of other ones too.
I got a drawer with them in. That might be in it.
You haven't got
because I'm almost sure that might be in the drawer, and I'm
almost
almost
sure. To find the other bits.
I'm almost sure we've seen this before. I'm sure we've picked up a piece of this on the Serawi.
We could well have done, because that's quite unusual, isn't it?
I think that's very nice. So I'm pretty sure we've seen a piece of that.
Ah, thank you, Phyllis. It's a lepidodendron tree fossil. Or a dragon, of course. But if it was to be a tree fossil, it would be a lepidodendron. Thank you very much. Phyllis is pretty good on that sort of thing.
Now, I've got a little piece of pot here.
A little piece of pot?
Yes, which will link us to a question.
Ooh, here we go. Question coming up. Fire your brains up. Get them ready. Do you want a question?
Now, is it only me?
Probably.
No, I don't think it looks like a dragon.
No, it doesn't look anything like a dragon.
But the colour on this, that looks like a piece of fruit from a still life there, that plum colour, doesn't it? And then you've got this rich, rich blue in the background. That reminded me of Moorcroft. You know the Moorcroft bowls and plates? Yep. It really did.
Does it have the like slip edge, like Moorcroft tended to do a line around the outside of his flowers?
Don't know.
I can feel something, but I don't think it's deep enough for being one of those.
But it definitely reminded me of Moorcroft enough for me to be able to ask a question.
Oh, well.
About Mr. William Moorcroft.
Go on then, go for it.
Moorcroft is a very successful company. Famous for the use of bold, rich colours. But William Moorcroft, the guy who founded the company, began his work for another pottery, where he was one of the designers. That is, until his designs did so well that the company were afraid that his work would overshadow the other lines that they were producing. Now that seems a bit strange to me. We've got this guy and he is so famous and everybody wants his stuff. What are we going to do? Because now the other lines are not selling so well. So they drove him out of the company. They got rid of him and forced him to have to start on his own, which turned out to be very good move. In what year did William Moorcroft get pushed out by his employers for being too good? Was it in 1812, 1862 or 1912? When do you think William Moorcroft was pushed out by his employers for being too good at his job? So he went off, started his own firm and became a multi-millionaire and a name that turns up on antique shows virtually every week. Was it A, 1812, B, 1862 or C, 1912?
Right, there's a lot of wrong answers coming in first. So I'm working my way down. There's the first right answer there. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Right, so there we go. We've got the first. Yep, there's a lot of right answers in now. Well, not a lot of right answers. Not everybody's got it right. And the one that I was going to go for, and then I thought, no, I think it's more likely to be. So the first one I went for is the most popular one. I thought that the other one would be most popular because it's one of those dates that's in your mind. So
right then, folks, as Caroline's given away an awful lot of information, and so people were thinking, well, I got it wrong, so I'm going to have another go now. So now we're getting more correct answers as we get to the bottom. But it did take a little while to get the correct answer, and I am not at all surprised. West Country Mudlarks, they were really going out there because they went with the date that wasn't on the list.
Well,
But
with a try.
And he was actually pushed out from his previous company in 1912. Now, I just imagined he'd have been around from the 1800s. That was my thinking.
I don't know. I think he's.
I just think of all of them. I think Wedgwood and Spode and Moorcroft. But of course, he is a much more modern potter. He's only been going for just over 100 years. But the correct answer is 1912. And on our list, the first person to get C was Random R.J. Awesome.
Well done, Random.
Followed by Michelle Grady.
Well done, Michelle.
And then Mike Sage.
Well done, Mike. Excellent.
And then we got a couple of correct answers. These and Rachel got it correct as well afterwards. But that was the ones. It was Random, then it was Michelle, and then it was Mike.
Jill said Moorcroft feels like a modern name in my mind, which is why I went for C. As I was thinking it was a little bit newer. I thought 1812 is too much like the 1812 Overture, so I get the feeling that's why Phil put it in. Because he is a little minx. Is that why you put it in?
No, I put it in because it was 100 years before the correct answer.
Right, oh well.
And then 1862 is in the middle. See? That's right.
There we go. Right, have you got something to show us?
I have indeed. I did say I would bring this bottle home and clean it up and see what it looked like if it was nice and shiny, because
It is very shiny.
It's a Newport bottle, and on this occasion everything was smashed to smithereens. So this was a pretty good find to get a bottle, and it says on there Williams and Co. and Newport. But it did come out quite nice because I could see some of the blemishes and the air bubbles in it. See a big air bubble there, even when it was dirty. But now I've cleaned it up, it's got a lovely green colour to it, very similar to what we picked up on our last visit, which again was Newport.
Oh, well done, Tom. You've interrupted Phil.
Hello.
Thank you ever so much. We got a £10 super chat from Tom
Thank
Burley.
you, Tom.
Thank you. We really do appreciate that, Tom. That's really kind of you.
Indeed it is.
Thank you so much.
Very nice man indeed. Thank you ever so much, Tom. And trust you're doing well up there. Newport again. And printed very similar to the Newport on our one. Which makes you think these bottles were possibly printed by the same company the bottles are made by the same company, but for different companies. And of course, I had a message this week, and that was from, I think, Deb Cattell.
Deb Cattell, yeah.
And Deb was saying, I love those bottles because they got my name on it. So there we are. One more time for you, Deb. There's your name, Cattell.
It's not quite your name in lights, it's your name in bottles.
And of course, I loved this bottle last week because they had the little message on the back saying any person using this bottle improperly will be prosecuted. So I intend to cut that down and use that as a candle. But there we go. I suspect, seeing the way Newport is written on both of those, that these bottles were made in the same bottle factory.
Or
for different companies.
Maybe did the same company share the same, or was it sort of one went on to become the other?
Possibly.
Sometimes that happens.
Possibly, yeah. Look at the colour in that.
Williams and Co. Could be that it was Williams and then it was Cattell and then Williams came in and it was with Williams and Cattell Co. Am I rambling? I think I am.
Yes, you are. It's and company. But I got a feeling those are about the same age, looking at the colourings. So I think what you had bottle producers making bottles for, say, 100 companies. And if they're both in Newport, why change the font, like, you know? So that's my theory on that.
Right, hooky dookie.
That's my theory. And from that bottle to what I thought was going to be the smallest bottle of the day, but then you got a smaller one, didn't you?
I did.
And this was a very plain screw top, nothing written on it. There's a number 2 on the bottom. Probably some kind of aspirin, dispirin or something like that. But when the fines are few, when it comes to glass, you take what you can. And that's what we took. But then you found that just in the banking as we walked along.
It's a shame it's got that crack and the top is a bit smashed. But when fines are few and far between, it's really lovely to find something like that. And it's quite blue as well. Let's have a look. Rather than aqua. So I like that, and it was just the surprise of actually seeing something like that age, because last time we were there we found quite a few. This time hardly any.
Yeah, well, I did find this one. And I was awarded bottle of the day.
You were?
Because this was under a brick on the floor. I kicked the brick over to have a look for the name on the brick. I didn't even see the bottle. I kicked the brick over, looked at the brick, walked away, walked back, and there was this, lying where the brick had been. And because of its structure, this is an extremely strong bottle. It is thick glass, but then it's got the recesses, the ribbon on the side. That was made not to break. You could see in every way, shape and form. And it survived. Even through all that storm, it survived. And we brought it home. And it'll go up on the shelf with a million other bottles in my shed.
Thomas' mum said it looks like a Bayer aspirin bottle with the number 2 on the bottom. So I take it as your bottle. Has it got a number 2?
The little one, yeah. The little one did have a number 2 on it, yes.
Could well be.
Yeah, it did have.
There we go. Somebody who knows.
Got number 2.
You've got to go very close. Very, very, very close. It's picking me up. There you go.
Here's a number 2. See, on the GoPro, I got to not go so close. I end up fuzzing things because I go too close. Right, would you like another question? Because it's 22.
There we go.
This question is about my desk.
Right. The desk.
My desk. I love my desk.
Yes.
I love my desk.
Once or twice. I'm beginning to feel put out.
And it looks quite at home in that shed, I think. It fits. It touches the window there and it touches the door there. You can't get no better than that. It's a
cozy.
Fully fitted desk. Well, what I have discovered is the Angus London on the escutcheon for the lock is the name of the company that provided the desk. They were William Angus and Co., also known as Angus of Scotland and London, because Scotland was where he was born. And they first advertised in 1880. And their slogan was, talk quality before price.
Ooh.
That was their slogan. He exhibited imported items at the Yorkshire Fine Arts Society show in 1881, which made him a bit of an oddball because at that time a lot of people shunned the idea of importing and they made their own. But William Angus, his company, did produce furniture, but also saw the opportunity for importing. And when I say they imported furniture, it is noted that in 1880-81, over a 2-month period, they imported 500 cases of furniture through London.
It's a lot of furniture.
Yeah, indeed they did. What was the country, the primary country that they imported from? Did they get their furniture from Germany, from the United States, or from France? Where do you think in 1881 William Angus and Co. imported 500 cases of furniture? Which country do you think they imported it from? Was it Germany, the USA, or France?
Ooh, a lot of answers coming into this one really quick, faster than last time. Right. Oh, and there we got our first, I think.
Yep, I think so. And then we got our second and our third.
Right, there we go. Lots and lots of answers coming in. Look at that. Ah, right. Somebody said, weren't they pink? I'm like, I'm completely lost now. But it's in a conversation about junior aspirin. So, yep, I can remember now. They were. Ours were in a slightly different shaped bottle to that one. They had a little bung of cotton wool on the top. Right, so you can tell us the answer.
I am. Because it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, that my desk may well have originated...
Oh, the suspense is killing me.
...in the United States of America. Let me read a quote from a furniture magazine of the times. It said, "A Cutler and Sons of Buffalo, USA, exhibited desks better known in this country as Angus desks." So A. Cutler and Sons from Buffalo, USA were showing their desks at an exhibition, and the reference from a British magazine was, these desks are better known in this country as Angus desks. Because this guy was importing from America.
Does anybody on our chat tonight live near Buffalo? I'm sure I've heard somebody mention it, but maybe they went there on holidays or something.
Now, this guy was so forward-thinking, he realised that because of the industrialisation of production in America, that he could actually ship things from the States over to here and undercut the prices of people that were producing them in Britain. He also got the products that would sell in the UK, such as that desk. The other thing he did was he tried to convince people of the benefits and the future success that would be guaranteed if they had modular furniture. Now, that was unheard of in 1880. Everything was made as one solid object. That desk, actually the top lifts off the pedestals. It's got wooden pegs, but it lifts off the pedestals so that it goes into 3 parts, which is just as well, because it would have never fitted in the car otherwise.
Or the shed.
I would have had to go down and get a van, and then it'd be stuck in our hallway. So there we go, folks. It came from the States. It looks like my desk may have originated in America, been shipped into London around about the 1920s, then brought through the company there. They had a massive production and display. They sold to the trade as well as to the public. Then it got bought by the officials and men of Oakdale Navigation Colliery, presented it to Mr. Pierce, who was on his way to transfer it over to Markham Colliery, and now it's in my shed. So I may well have a desk that was come from the United States.
I was asking about Buffalo. Does anybody live there? Penny Kaiser said, I do. Flower Girl in Ward 17 said, yay, Buffalo. Rachel lives about 3 hours drive from there. And Catherine G's mom lived in Buffalo for 15 years. Mike's a couple of hours west of there. So, in that sort of area then, quite a few. Oh, I love the names. Oh, just a second. Ontario is across Lake Ontario from Buffalo, New York. Buffalo was beautiful in the 60s when I was last there. Now, I love some of the names you have over there, like Buffalo. We got nowhere in Britain called Buffalo, do we?
I'm sure we've got places that people in other parts of the world think is lovely.
Yeah, it's a novelty, isn't it?
That's
like,
right.
I'm sure some of you might sort of like the name of like Abercumboy or
Portlanthraith and Abertyswg and such places. Llanelli.
I like Buffalo and I'm trying to think now. I don't think of
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. Oh yes.
Caroline's favourite name, Hawaii.
Oh yes.
Hawaii. When we were in ministry, Caroline always said, "I'm sure they need someone in Hawaii. We should go down there." She was always trying to convince our bosses to transfer us to the Hawaii one, I love.
Yep. I got no recognition for that at all.
No. Oh.
Oh, Jill said not far from me there's a place called Sling. There are some really strange names, aren't there, in Britain? Right. You're going to show something now, are you?
Yes. The question is it a fish? Or is it the skull of a dinosaur? It's all down to how you look at it.
It is.
And somebody's going to say, I can't see either. Use your imagination. There we are. Skull of a dinosaur. There's the eye socket. And there's the shape of the head there.
Flower Going in Ward 17 said piranha.
Yes, definitely. It's a rather mean looking fish, isn't it? There we go. But an interesting stone, I thought. And I thought will come in handy when I am making, because I have been accumulating numerous bits of driftwood that have got dinosaur features to them. So I may do a bit of a dinosaur graveyard type thing.
Ooh.
With my, and I'll include my stone as well as the pieces of driftwood.
Oh, Christina, when I was working for the church in the US, our region was Southern California and Hawaii. I am so not jealous. That must have been a lovely place to live. Even if it's just for all the climate. Right, should we have another question?
You can do. Now, just up behind me here, we have my miner's watch, which was picked up on the Sarawi River.
It was.
And Caroline has a cog.
A cog?
I believe you have a cog.
See my cog, do you?
Yeah. There's a cog here. See, there's a cog. But Caroline's cog.
This is the most recent cog. Ooh, look at that.
And finding watches and cogs on the Sarawi allows me the freedom to ask a question related to clockwork.
Right. Can I just, did we give the answer? So a couple of people are mentioning we have no idea who won the last question.
Oh, didn't we say? I said the answer and I didn't say who won it.
Sorry.
Didn't we?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Hang on.
It's not going to ask me if I remember, is it?
No.
Right, I can't even remember what the answer is, so...
Well, I know what the answer is. I know which one it was. Let's have a look, see if I can find it out.
Rachel said, I'd love to see you make a collage with those cogwheels, Caroline. I know I'd love to get enough of them to actually do something like that with. But we haven't got many. It's not the sort of thing we find a lot of. Like, some people seem to find a lot of things like watch and clock parts. I love them, but we just don't seem to find them.
Okay, I've got the answer of who did it. I'm sorry about that, folks. Got so carried away, forgot I hadn't told you who won. And I know one person that's going to be screaming at the telly because he's managed to get it right and take the gold podium place, and that is the man with an anchor.
Adam. Well done, Adam.
Adam gave us B. And then we've got Lynn Bean, who went the extra mile and wrote America.
Well done.
And then West Country Mudlarks. They got B as well.
Well done.
There we go. So, top of the tree, Adam. Quickly followed by Lynn and West Country Mudlarks. There we go.
People talking about Manky. Since Manky has got this flying outfit, he's so happy. He just stays in, and I can't stand the noise. We're making aeroplane noises, running around the house, giggling and screaming. So he tends to do that when we're out mudlarking. So that's why he hasn't been on the river lately. It's because he's being more of a pilot daredevil around the house.
And it has to be said, he's far safer here than in my pocket because we have nearly lost him twice.
Yes, and we really don't want to lose Manky.
I do
so
not
at the moment,
want to lose him.
We just, because it's cold and we're rushing everywhere, so you don't really notice if you put him down or something. I'd rather not.
And I have always relied on Caroline's observance. Caroline will say, "Where's Manky?" She will notice. These days, it is frightening because
everything's on my head.
We can't rely on Caroline's observance. Or mine, because I never had any. So, yeah. He tends to hang out here in the warm with all his friends.
Oh, Ninva said she didn't recognise him. It is a bit difficult, isn't it? But if I take his hat off...
Take his hat off.
It's Manky! What's that? Oh, it's that time again. Manky saying he's been reading some of the comments over my shoulder and said there are a lot of people who may be a bit sad or have got things going on in their life or are not feeling well. So he wants to give you all a big kiss. So pick her up, here he comes. Mwah! There we go. You've all had a kiss off Manky. Right, I'll put his hat back on and he can go and stand back on the shelf and pose again.
There you go.
There we go.
Right then. Clockwork. That's where we was, weren't we?
Clockwork, yes.
Yes, indeed. Clockwork has certainly stood the test of time. See the pun there?
Oh.
Ha ha. I tell you, I take hours writing this. As the earliest clockwork device is thought to be at least 2,000 years old and was probably made in which of these countries? China, Persia, or Greece? So if you think it's China, it's A. If you think it's Persia, it's B. If you think it's Greece, it's C. Okay, we've added Germany.
The red is small said, "Mwah, that was a big kiss, Manky. I'm watching on the big TV. Can you imagine how big Manky's head must have been?" But what's that? He said, "Thank you for all the return wishes and kisses." Right, so do we have a winner in?
We do indeed.
Do we have first, second, third in? There's an awful lot of answers coming in.
I tell you, they're coming in so fast, I've shot all the way down the page. I've got to go back up.
Right. Oh, there's quite a few right answers this
A
time.
lot of answers. Lot of answers.
Thomas' mom said E-I-E-I-O because I have no idea.
I've got 2 correct answers. I'm just looking for a
Random said,
third.
do sundials count? I'm not sure.
Ooh.
I don't know.
We've got a return visitor to Emporium
Right.
from earlier this evening. We've got a new name on top of the tree for this evening at least. And a new name, I believe, for tonight at 3rd position. Because it may interest you to know, folks, that while lots and lots of people have gone for A and B, the answer is C. Yes, it was on a Greek shipwreck that they discovered this particular clockwork item, which was a one of them words. It's not computer, there's another word. But anyway, it was in order to calculate the movement of the heavenly bodies, and it was a clockwork mechanism for following the movement of certain planets. And they found it was 2,000 years old, and it was in a Greek ship that it was discovered. So believed to have originated in ancient Greece, where they were very into that sort of thing, it seems. So, who have we got? First person with a C is Richard Serridge.
Well done, Richard.
Excellent, Richard. Followed by a man we've seen earlier this evening, Ed Creative.
Well done, Ed.
Actually, Ed Creative Plus. And then we've got Dorothy.
Well done, Dorothy.
Dorothy Papani, I think, but I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Have you said Papino? I can't remember now.
Papino.
Papino.
Yeah,
I think.
Dorothy Papino.
Hopefully we're right.
Right,
We're not the other of us.
It is. Richard, Ed and Dorothy have got first, second and third.
Well done.
There we go. Lovely jubbly.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Catherine. Her stepdad's been taken to Merthyr Hospital this evening, and the doctor says he should be okay in a few days. So that's good news. It's never nice, is it, being taken into hospital? There's nothing like your own bed. That's what I always think. Not that you've never been to hospital, have you?
I went once as a child because I didn't want to go to school, so I feigned illness, and I was so good I got hospitalised for 24 hours. So the moral to this tale is, don't overdo it when you don't want to go to school. You could end up in hospital instead with people sticking needles in you. No, I don't go to hospitals. I have nothing wrong with me because I haven't been to the doctors in 20 odd years. So that way, you see, good doctors, they tell you you're bad. So I don't go, then they don't tell me.
On which note, don't be like Phil. If you haven't had your cholesterol checked, get it checked, because I didn't realise mine was like through the roof, and then I've ended up having mini stroke. So if you haven't had your cholesterol checked, then if you want to do something for us, then go get your cholesterol checked. It's definitely worth doing.
Caroline's been nagging the children. Oh, thank you, Stephen.
Thank you so much. That's
£1
really kind of you. Thank you. We really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Indeed we do. Now, here's an interesting one. It's got nothing written on it. It's just a boring stopper, I know. But what's interesting is when Caroline picked it up, she realised it's not a vulcanised stopper.
No, it did look like.
It is an identical copy of a vulcanised rubber stopper, but it's actually made of plastic. So this is the next step forward in stoppers, I would imagine. It's a plastic stopper with a cap top on there. It's a hollow one. It's hollow and it's got a pressed in cap, but it does look, to all intents and purposes, identical. Of course, here's another one of my finds. I thought this was the top of a can when it was in the river. One or two people suggested that it's the ring out of the nose of a bull.
Could be.
But, it's certainly a chunky piece of steel. So we have that. What else do we have? You've got some marbles, haven't you?
I do want to show you the marbles, and then we're going to have
and
the last
pipes.
question.
Have you shown your pipes?
Not yet.
I'll show both.
I did bring it over and I put it down, I think. Or did I put it back? I've got it. It's okay. Right, so I'll show you my marbles. Now, the jury's out on this one, because we saw thousands and thousands of these when we were up in Yorkshire on one of the dumps. So I don't think that's really a marble. It's very lightweight, so I think it's one of those things from the kilns. But this one...
Oh, that's the one you found next to the pipe, isn't it?
That's beautiful. And also, it's not completely round. Now, if you get a marble nowadays, a modern one, they're perfect. But this is not perfect. It's a little bit oval, which was really annoying for the poor child who was trying to play marbles with it. But I think it's good because it shows its age. And I got this one, which is a clay marble. Look at that. They're cute. Terracotta coloured. Very sweet. I do love a good marble.
Indeed. Well, I actually have a question about marbles.
Right, let's have a marble question.
Right then. Stone and clay marbles date back to ancient Egypt and beyond. They even get a mention by Mr. William Shakespeare.
Oh, well.
He mentioned marbles, so marbles were happening in Britain in Shakespeare's day. But of course, it was a little bit later than ancient Egypt when we started to have glass marbles. And a little bit later again before they started putting pretty blue things inside, because we have actually a plain glass marble just here, which I can show you, which we've picked up on one of our journeys. So, in which century were glass marbles first mentioned? In which century were glass marbles first mentioned?
So what are our options?
Your options are A, the 15th century, B, the 17th century, or C, the 19th century. Where do we have a reference I believe it was a German writer that made reference to glass marbles as marbles to play the game with. Not round glass beads, but marbles. When was using glass as marbles first mentioned? Was it A, 15th century, B, 17th century, or C, 19th century?
Right, let's have a look. Oh, right. While the answers are coming in, I've got to do my happy mail. There's so many things going on today, I forgot about the happy mail.
You're going to do a jingle or not?
Let's do a jingle. This is Caroline. Thinking of you whilst clearing up after storms, I came across something and something else. And they're in this box. And I'll show you if I can find them. Sorry for the rattling.
Not really. It's doing it on purpose.
The red dragon was something I painted way back when I was at school. Look at that. Jeff painted that. Isn't that amazing?
Cool
that is like
dragon.
So impressive. I couldn't even imagine painting like that. Look at the detail. If I show you, where's his face? There. Look at that. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? So I love that, Jeff. That's absolutely wonderful. But that's not all there is, because the other thing was... Find it more rattling. No, I think you're going to love this. Because I love this. And it is just... That is glass. Look at the size on it. It's a little bit flat on the bottom, so you could use it as like a paperweight. But I really want to do something special with that. I can't think what at the moment, so I'm not going to rush into anything. I want this to be fully displayed, and ideally with the light coming through it. So
There you are. It's a lovely,
gorgeous?
it's a beautiful colour for St. Patrick's Day, isn't it? It's that
It is,
emerald
yes.
green, isn't it?
So thank you ever so much, Jeff. I love them both. They're absolutely wonderful. And so we're going to find somewhere to put Dragon on a shelf, but I'm definitely going to put that into something that shows it off against the light. Not quite sure what. And while we're waiting for the answers as well, just to let you know, next week will be a not live show. We will be in the chat. So
Yes.
if you want to talk to us, we'll be answering you in the chat. But we're going to film that tomorrow night.
It's simply because next Sunday is Caroline's birthday. So we're going to be away for the weekend because we're celebrating Caroline's birthday and we can't guarantee the internet. So rather than take risks on internet, which we've done before and it's gone terribly wrong, there will be a show, but it'll be a premiered, not live show.
Yes.
So there we go. Anyway, the answer to this question.
The answer to this question, finally.
Right, here we go. The answer is 15th century. And that's A. Caught a few people out because I think they thought it was later.
Yep.
At that point, the mention of glass marbles was that the glass blowers, the people working in the glass industry, would make the marbles for their kids. So the children of the glass workers were playing with glass marbles in the 15th century. And top of the tree, it's Ninfa. Followed
Well done, Ninva.
by Sarah.
Well done, Sarah.
And he's back again. Ed Creative Plus.
Well done, Ed.
And he's just knocked Adam
Ooh, Adam.
into fourth. Ooh.
Adam was
So-
first in today, so he's redeemed himself.
Yeah, so Ninfa Carpenter, quickly followed by Sarah Strong, and then Ed Creative. They
Well
are
done.
top three on the final question because it's 10:05.
Yes, Lexi said, when is your birthday? It's on the 6th.
Yes, which I believe is next Sunday. I hope it's next Sunday because that's what I've planned everything for.
Oh, Dorothy said, my friend from high school had her birthday on March the 5th. Now, there was a girl in school with us, Andrea Parry, she was at the time, and it was her birthday on the 5th, and then mine on the 6th. So, well, 5th's a popular day too. Right.
Lots
So
of
I
happy
think that's it.
birthdays
So
coming
thank
in
you
now.
for all the happy birthday wishes, and
As
tune
I
in
say,
anyway, because
we
we'll
will
be
be
here
here.
next week. It's just that we won't be, well, we will be on the screen, but we won't be live. We'll be
That's
chatting
right.
to you.
Gets
on
very
the-
confusing.
Oh, 3 days after Richard's birthday. Or happy
That's
birthday
right,
for the
yeah.
3rd of March, Richard.
Yeah, so Richard's this week as well. Very popular week. St David's Day coming up. Big day in Wales.
It is.
Indeed,
Out
indeed.
with the daffodils and the leeks.
Thank you, everyone. Wonderful to see you. We've had 140 in the show at the moment. We've got 106 thumbs up.
Oh,
thank you for
ever
that.
so much, everyone. Thank you for all the comments and all the super chats and
thank
the
you for
thumbs
being
up.
here,
Yep.
being part of this, because if you weren't there, we wouldn't be here. It's our pleasure, but we can only do it with your help, and you're out there making this happen. So thank you, thank you,
Before
thank
you
you.
go, be great if you could click the thumbs up button.
Well, 113 already up.
Oh, lovely. Thank you ever
Okay,
so much. And
so-
we'll see you all next time. But
Indeed
until
we
then,
will.
don't forget.
Have fun.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.